person, I want you to be two people that are committed to friendship with one another, real friends, really believing that I can now share my life with you because you are my friend and I have confidence. And not only can I give, but I'm going to be a person who's going to receive with great tenderness and great care. Amen? Think about that, if you would, as the key to some of the success that you're looking for in your marriage. Number two, in the word FOGG, F-O-G-G, is the word other. We live in a very individualistic world, a world in which we so many times don't want to be dependent on other people. I want to be my own person, and we're especially concerned about not being dependent on God. Sometimes when I hear of this New Age religion, it's a religion that sometimes is so concerned about my relationship and my ability to be able to be God, if you will, that I lose the sense of dependence and the sense of responsibility that I have for others. If you really want to have success in marriage as a couple, you have to admit the fact that you need your family. When I start talking with couples about getting married, one of my first questions is, what's going on with your family and his family, you know, the back and forth? Is there a real acceptance? And when you run into this situation where, oh, my mom and dad can't stand him, I'm thinking, oh my, we're really going to be running into problems here, because the reality of love, first on friendship, is also a wonderful community of people that are interacting with one another, on whom you can rely, and say, hey, I need somebody just to listen to me. I need somebody to be angry with. I need somebody to laugh with. I need somebody to love me. And that's a family, that's the other people. So if we talk about a husband and wife in marriage, we also talk about a real awareness of the interdependence that we have with other people. Now, that means that you as a couple have to be willing to reach out, but that means that we, who are people who are part of a family or part of a church, this is where church really comes into the fore, isn't it? If we are part of that church, we are continually willing to support you, to give what we can to you, to be able to stand by you again in those times of pain, to be with you and cry, in those times of joy, to be with you and laugh, in those times of fear, to just hold you. That's what makes a marriage work. A community of people that stand around and are really committed in great love to allowing this to happen. You get that? And I talked about the church, and I think more and more that in my understanding as a pastor, the real heart of what church is all about is not necessarily the building, it's not necessarily the rituals that we go through or the obligations and this meeting and that meeting. The heart of what real parish life is about, commitment, is a commitment to the community. The commitment that I give in surrender to a community, and the community gives back to us as a couple. If you want to have success in marriage, I want you as husband and wife to really work on being friends, open, honest. And number two, I want you to make sure that you're continually accepting the importance of the community, of your family, your friends, and the church, the synagogue that you go to, that becomes the real experience of God's power with you. Amen? F-O. Now, we get into the first G, F-O-G. Now, that stands to me for the word give. Now, in our country and in our world, if I give you something, let's say I give you this at Christmas, or I give it to you on your birthday, well, the obligation is I'm going to have to figure out how much that costs and what the value is, and then I'm going to have to give the same thing back to you. It's kind of like a 50-50% thing, isn't it? We're continually getting things, and then whoop, 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 the obligation is that I give back. Well, what I believe is, and this is probably, well, it's one of the most difficult aspects of my little formula for success. We've got to get away from the 50-50 idea and get to this. Get to the 90-10. And what the 90-10 means is that I need to be willing to search continually of how I can love you as a husband, looking to you as my wife and saying, oh, what can I do to allow your talents to start to blossom? What can I do to discover the giftedness that's in you? What can I do to listen to you? And so as I listen to you, start to get to the depth of the greatness of who you are. You know, as a husband, I've got to give that, and I've got to give it at 90%. Being willing to give 90% of my time, my effort, and my love in order to make your love work. And I'm only going to expect 10% back. But then, I as a husband, I'm going to ask you as my wife to start taking up the whole 90-10 thing too. And for you to look to me and try to see, how can you allow me to be able to find the peace that I'm looking for? How can you allow me to open up the talents and the dreams that I have? How can you allow me to really love the way I can? And I need you. And I need you to give that to me 90%. Well, as you hear what I'm saying, I'm talking in a way that kind of throws mathematics completely out of kilter. We're talking about each person giving love to the other, giving that surrender, giving that deep desire to build the other up as a 90-10%. And although that doesn't work,